Hi. So, Drew, today we have with us a really special guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good friend. So, I'm going to start by introducing our friend here and talking about how I first came in contact with him. And we have always, as you know, we followed Abraham, always listened to Law of Attraction podcasts and looked for things. And so one day I was really searching for something. I didn't know what it was. I needed something more. I knew things were working well for me, but it wasn't all coming together, right? So I was listening to sports podcasts and all sorts of other things, and I just had this thought to
But you
look
were having
up.
an awesome time because that was getting Lily into college and you were having a blast.
I was having a
You had
blast.
you
I
were
was in a
great
really
spot.
good place. I
Yeah.
was really happy and having fun in
Yeah.
my life. So I was just sitting, put makeup on, and I got this thought to look up podcasts about law of attraction because I had never really done that. I had just sports, comedy, that sort of thing. And I came across a podcast by someone that was really interesting to me. And I started listening to it. It was channeled information. And I listened for about 5 or maybe 10 minutes. And I turned it off. And I had such an incredible experience in that just first 10 minutes.
Right.
And the experience was that as I was going through working, listening to Abraham, doing all Course in Miracles, all these other things, I was focused on changing my reality, right? I was focusing on creating a new future, like
Trying
a
to
future
go forward and control, like this is great,
Right.
but how can I make...
well, even maybe not this is great. Maybe I was just like, I don't like this, I don't like that,
okay.
and I want
Gotcha.
this new future, right? So I was focused on that. And in listening to this new podcast, I just all of a sudden got this thought that it was about looking at what I had right now, right in this minute. What's here in front of me? My husband is in the other room. My daughter is healthy and happy, and this house is beautiful, and I get to do what I want to do today. And everything in just 5 or 10 minutes of listening to this information helped me realize that by changing my perspective just a little bit on what was happening right now, that's how I changed my reality.
Right.
I wasn't trying to change a future or create a future anymore. I went, wait a minute.
How perfect the moment is.
I understand what they've all been saying now. It's not change your future, it's change how you see right now. And everything in front of me changed instantly.
Yeah.
So this podcast was by a gentleman that's with us today, Gary Temple Bodley.
Yeah.
And who has now become a dear friend. And he channels a group of consciousness entities that he's named Joshua. They've given him that name, and that's perfect. It's something that's easy to say, and we all resonate. It has some historic significance, right? And so because of the impact that made on me, it took me on a different branch of this spiritual journey, and I'm so appreciative of him and of Joshua and the information. I just wanted to bring him on today and share it with everyone that watches us because it's just made such an impact on me.
Excellent.
Welcome to the show, Gary. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So fun.
It's fun. It's
Yeah.
awesome. So just, I know a little bit, but I know not everybody knows. Channeling for me seems really normal. I've grown to accept it because 20 years ago, and I know it's a natural ability. For you, when you first started feeling this, tell me what that was like for you and how that started.
So I had only known Abraham and Esther,
Right.
and I was really into Abraham and listened to the YouTubes. On my walks, I would do that roulette of Abraham. You just
Right.
shuffle through and click on one.
Me too.
And so I thought, well, that's the only channel in the world. And I knew about Seth, but never
Right.
heard
Right.
Jane
Someone
Roberts.
speak.
So I was just living my life. It had changed quite a bit. I had lost everything in the crash. And I came to a new realization. I'm just going to focus on what I like to do. And I found Abraham. And so I changed my whole way of doing things by allowing things to happen and all
But
that.
I love your story because you said, I want to learn law of attraction so I can control my life or
Right.
change this or
wanna-
do something.
I'm going to use that law of attraction
Yeah,
stuff
how to make things better.
to get all my money back.
And
that
then
I
you
lost.
realize once you got like you go in one way and then you come out the other way, like it's way different. There's much more to this. Than,
Yeah, so if you're a follower of law of attraction,
Yeah.
what almost happens to everyone is they get stuck.
I
This is
did.
great. I feel good. I'm looking at the positive aspects. Hold on, I'm looking at the positive aspects all the time, but nothing's changing because you're trying to control your life, and this is just one more mechanism of control.
Right.
And so in Joshua's first book, the first words ever written, the first paragraph on the introduction is everything
this is your
right.
first book.
Yeah.
Channel. Yeah.
Right.
A perception of reality. Everything is right. There is no wrong anywhere in the universe. Anything seen as bad or wrong comes from a limited perspective. From the higher perspective, whether that's the non-physical or, as we know, after a bit of time, everything is right. So you think about your first breakup, you know, and at the time it was terrible.
No, it's horrible. Yeah.
And now you look back and it's not terrible. You thank God that happened because now I have these kids and this new husband. And,
You have more information.
right. So what happened, what it means is you had a limiting belief that this was a bad thing and you're going to lose something.
Right.
Well, loss is an illusion. You can't lose anything. In an attractive universe, once you've attracted it, you've got, but what you do is you project into the future, I'm going to have this thing in
Tomorrow,
the future. Well,
right.
that's not really part of your journey. So anyway, you look back on that now, so that time gives you a new perspective.
Right.
So if you look at everything from a new perspective, right, that's all it is, you can see the right and the good in everything. Once you start doing that, you become the creator of your reality, not the victim of fate.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So I had 3 big inspirations, and one of those big inspirations was to meditate. And I had never meditated. I was very resistant to it. So I said, I'm going to do this. And I sat down and I listened to the Abraham meditations. First, it was very hard. Couldn't get through like a minute. But within a couple of weeks, I was doing the whole 15 minutes. And after maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I started to feel a presence in the side of my jaw.
Right. Not like not painful, but just
There's like
something
this
there.
obvious comforting presence,
Right.
right? Like it was inside my skin on my jaw, like a hand moving around like that. And then it would move up my skull. And I'm like, this is weird. You know?
What is this feeling?
So it came every single time. And I thought maybe this is normal, right? But it felt like a presence. So at one point, I started to ask it questions. And I got back these answers so quick,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. But I still thought I was making it up.
Still thought you're thinking those.
It's my thoughts, right?
it's your
Because they sound
thoughts.
like my thoughts. Your
Yeah.
thoughts sound like your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right.
What we don't know is, what I didn't know at the time is we're always channeling this stuff anyway. But we think we manufacture these thoughts in our brains. That's what the brain is for. But that's not true. We attract thoughts. As Abraham says, all the thoughts that have ever been thought before still exist. And as Joshua has gone on to say, and all the thoughts that will ever be thought exist in a realm of potentiality that you can unlock if
Right.
you need it.
If you
right?
need it.
So if you're really wanting to invent this thing, you become the path of least resistance and you invent this thing, right? Whatever it is.
Whatever it
Or
is.
write this song or write this book.
Paint the
you know?
painting. Right.
So anyway, I'm conversing with this entity. And then at one day I said, who is this? And they said, we are Joshua.
So it's we.
It's a group of non-physical. And it
Right.
includes, well, okay. So we all have our inner self. And we all have guides and supporters. There's millions of entities in this room right now.
Right. Which is
They're
a
all-
hard concept for a lot of people to grasp, right? That's a what? Right? But
Well,
we're
there's
never
so
alone.
much to this, so
Right.
we're just being in general. But this
Yeah,
is in
yeah.
general say that everyone has guides and supporters.
Right.
So this room is full of guides and supporters, us. And so they're interacting on our behalf, you know. And then they send us thoughts in the form of inspiration. So if we're feeling good, like we are now, we don't need to script anything.
Right. Which
Because
we
it's just
didn't.
right. It's just
Right,
coming
right,
off.
right.
We're getting these thoughts, and
Yeah.
we're having this fun, free-flowing conversation.
Right.
And this is what you do when you're friends and you're having fun, like we did last night,
Right,
right?
right, yeah.
We're having these amazing. Last night could have been the best show in the world. if we
It
had
could
cameras.
have been right if we had had cameras
was
there.
fun.
I think we said a
was
million times.
blow-
We should be
mind-blowing.
recording this. We're brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant. So that's what's happening. The stream of consciousness of brilliance, of infinite intelligence is flowing through us all the time. when we're in alignment, which means when we're looking at life as it's good.
As it's good right
That's
now.
what alignment is. Our inner self has a perspective on our life. Your life is going really great from your inner self's perspective. It's only when we have
seeing at it
fear.
from the higher perspective, and that's what that congruence is, where that emotion comes in, and people get scared of that emotion. Like that's just telling you where you are in alignment with how your higher self is looking at things at any moment.
So how do you feel right now?
Oh, excellent, really good.
Right, so you're in
steady,
alignment.
easy, yeah.
Yep, and
yeah.
so-
allowing. I want the viewers to hear everything that you have to say. It's
And so now you're
wonderful.
receiving thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
So many thoughts coming through you. And so you're inspired to say something because you're aligned with your inner self and source and all that.
Right.
Now, if you were worried about how this is going to go, if you're going to get good ratings having me on as a guest, you might have planned everything.
Right.
Right? And then that would take us out of the moment.
Yeah.
We don't need to plan now because we can just go with the flow of what is happening. So anyway, Joshua comes through. I'm not really telling anyone about it, even though I have a lot of friends in law of attraction at that time.
Right.
But I
But
have
you're maybe uncomfortable. Like, this
crazy,
is too weird,
right?
right? This is too weird, right? I get that.
Did you
Crazy,
even know what
crazy.
channeling was? Like,
Yeah, 'cause I knew Abraham.
Okay, Abraham. So
Yeah.
you had a glimpse that this was.
Yeah, but I thought
possibility.
Abraham was this thing.
Yeah.
This is a phenomenon, right? Didn't think it was possible. So anyway, one day, November 15th, 2013, I was 50 at the time, and they said, get up and go right, right, right. It's so clear. So I just got up, went to my computer, started typing, and the introduction to the first book, A Perception of Reality, was written in that half an hour period. And then the next day, they said, write again, got up, just type, didn't even know what I was typing at all. While it's coming out, it seems like gibberish. And then you read it back, you go, oh my God, this is something here, yeah. And then every day for 8 weeks, and that 300-page book was completed. And at that time, I was sending them out to our friends,
Okay.
and they were sending to their friends, so it got this big group going right away. And so everyone's reading along with it every day, and then the last day it's finished, and everyone's bummed out.
Like, oh no, we
know?
want more.
The next day, the next book starts. Health,
Oh,
Wealth, and
really?
Love.
Okay, that quickly. The
8
second book.
weeks, 300 pages, half an hour a day,
Really?
and boom. I never wrote a book, other than little stupid things like that before in my life.
Yeah.
It just came out quickly
Imagine
and
8
very
weeks.
little editing. Just
No
your
editing.
own typos.
There's
or
no
whatever.
editing, just typos. Exactly how it came out is what's on that page.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it blew up, and it came into this philosophy and this very well-defined teachings that go way beyond law of attraction. So how can we live most effectively in our lives?
Right.
And that's something I've always been interested in,
Yeah.
And so, there's all this Buddhism and spirituality going
Sure.
on.
Yeah.
And it's generally look at the positive aspects, feel good, have fun, all that stuff.
Right.
Well, Joshua takes it to a whole new level,
A whole nother level for me. When I heard it
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
which is a strategy or system for moving on this path of self-discovery to discover who you authentically are,
Yeah.
right?
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. So I love that. Yeah.
Because we were talking about this earlier, we are always trying to control ourselves so that other
all the
people will like us,
Or
Right.
ourselves or whatever.
or ourselves,
people
so
like
we can
ourselves.
accept ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
But generally, we accept ourselves based on feedback we get from others.
Other people.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're being inauthentic, trying to get something from them that you don't feel, you attract people who will show you what you feel.
Right. Yeah.
I've attracted you guys who are like bizarrely interested in what I have to say. So it's really fun,
I think it is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it 6 years now, since 2013, 6.5 years. And so my life has just radically improved.
Yeah.
I have the love of my life.
Yeah. She's here.
I
in
have the
studio
house
with
of
us.
my dreams. I have the friends of my dreams all over the world.
Right.
I'm in Paris with friends, Amsterdam with friends, here in
Right.
Florida with
Right.
tons of
Right.
friends. We're getting together as a big group of 14 friends at one
And
house.
you couldn't have forecasted this.
Hell no.
Because you could make your own personal way that you think things should be.
Yeah,
But if
goal.
you let go
Right.
and be the creator, which is all that is perfect, then the orchestration that happens, it's so much better than you could even
Right.
Yeah.
design.
So what you're pointing out
yeah.
is that I couldn't plan any of this.
Nope.
And it turned out more spectacular than anything I could even imagine.
Yeah.
Not only that, but 6 years ago, if you showed me my life now, you're this channel.
Yeah.
And you would have said, no, I don't want that life.
I don't want that life, right?
Right.
Because I was not a vibrational match. I had to go on this journey.
To
And I
become
was
a match to those
lucky
things.
enough that I could push past enough fear to do these things.
Yeah.
But still, I didn't post Joshua on my Facebook page until last year.
Right, which
That
I
just
think
shows
is
you
so,
resistance,
yeah,
you know?
which is, really, I mean, because you're just, and one of the cool things about this, and I think one reason that you are possibly this path of least resistance for Joshua is that you're just a normal guy. You're not, you're not some weirdo meditator levitating, sage. You're not, you're not. You're just a normal guy doing normal stuff, built big businesses, hanging out with friends, drinking beer, doing your thing. And this happened for you because somehow you were just open enough that it came through you.
Typical American
Totally.
striving for achievement and recognition and worthiness by creating conditions that from the outside had a house on the water, had a boat, had a vacation house, had my own office building, had all these things going on.
Right.
Right? So from the outside, you look at me and go, that guy's got it put together, right? And from the inside, you look at me and go, this guy doesn't feel worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not having fun, and he's not getting any satisfaction. He's efforting and struggling all the way.
All the way.
And it never feels good. I got to a place where we checked into the Four Seasons, and I go, we were loaded with money at the time, and I go, they're going to treat me like I'm a superstar. And they treated me like some schmo off the street who shouldn't be there, right?
Right. Because that's how you felt.
Because that's how I felt. Yeah, here I'm trying to prove it. So give all that up.
Yeah.
And now I'm just being guided to be as authentic as I can with no ego. Just realize that's going to come up.
It does come all the time.
I like having people follow me and like me and give appreciation, but the appreciation now comes as a side effect to the life I'm living.
Right.
And so it feels natural.
So it makes sense. It makes sense.
So I
like,
feel
you
that
get that feeling
appreciation
place first, and that's one thing I've been really working on. That just get that feeling, freedom, flexibility, whatever that feeling is, and then when things show up physically, well, of course that is the way that it is.
I think,
it makes sense
you start to, you understand it. For me, I can now look at anything that I think I want, whether that's a vacation or whatever it is, and I can very quickly say, why do I think I want that? And I can name the feeling that I think that thing is going to give me, and I go, oh, I must be missing that feeling right now. So then I'll just look at things in my life. These are things Joshua has actually given me to physically work on. And that's what I really want to point out here is that the work through Joshua and the boot camp and just listening to the podcast, it is practical. So anybody that's just starting, getting an idea that this is interesting, or people that have been stuck in the law of attraction for a long time can find this, and there are actual things to step by step to work on. So for me, what am I wanting to feel by getting that vacation or buying that car? What do I want to feel? Pointing out that feeling, and then Joshua's helped me to talk to myself and write down all the things currently in my life or in the past that I've ever experienced, or anything I've even seen someone else experience that gives me that feeling of whether it's freedom or worthiness or love, whatever it is that I want to feel, and then leaning into that feeling without having the car or without buying, taking the vacation or whatever, cultivating that feeling, and then watching what happens is that maybe I don't get that car, maybe I don't do that, but something better stuff comes along, and little by little, more things that give me closer to that feeling that I think that vacation or the car is going to give me start coming in, and then all of a sudden, I just feel that. That's how I feel, and I don't need the thing.
From what you just said,
Yeah.
it takes me back through all my journeys, But one thing that we realized was that you can control conditions. You can get the house, you can get the cars, but it's hard. because you have to keep everything in place, and it just keeps getting bigger, and
Right.
you have to keep shuffling that around.
You
Like,
get
when does it
trapped.
stop? When does
We
it?
did.
When you get
Yeah, and
affluent,
I
you
think
get
we
trapped
figured
in-
out really early on, like, this isn't right.
Right.
It blew
This
up.
isn't right. It's who's owning who.
Yeah.
What's you
Right.
know.
We had everything,
you're making your own prison.
beautiful
Yeah.
cars and massive
And you want
house.
that. Like,
and,
I want that. I don't want
Right.
our family to be without. I want us to have stuff, but I don't want it to be controlling, and I don't want it to look like that's the most important thing to me.
Right.
Because love is the most important thing
Right.
to me. But
in my relationships,
but
right?
I shouldn't be able to. I shouldn't have to settle either. Like, how do you get to the balance? And that's definitely like just going internal, where it's the feeling, and
It
'cause that you
happens
can own.
inside, right.
Because then it doesn't matter
If
what
you
the outside
can
is.
give up attachment to anything you think you want,
No, and I'm doing that in a huge way
That's-
now. Yeah.
yeah, that's a mind blower. I think I want this, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I want 1 million people to watch this, but what would that be like?
We
You know,
don't-
we don't know.
Then you get
Right?
40 emails and all this other stuff you have to
Yeah,
deal
I
with.
can't
Yeah,
can't
whatever.
handle it,
Yeah.
or get overwhelmed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I actually want what is happening in every moment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be anywhere else on earth than where I am right now.
No, right.
This is so much fun. And then the next thing we have to do today is going to be fun and fun and fun and fun.
Yeah.
Just going with the flow. Well, how you tell that to somebody who feels unworthy, they're trapped in a dead end job, they either are in a relationship they don't like or don't have one, right? And these things aren't working. And they're what you say is, I want to control this condition because I hate what's going on
What's
here
going
now.
on? Right.
And so they get an urge to do something. And that urge will never lead to what they want. The irony here is, no matter where you are in life, you have to absolutely accept it.
Right. That's what I
How
wanted
do
to
you
get
teach
to.
Yeah,
people how to
yeah,
do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
That was what I wanted to get, because that's the basis to me of all of Joshua's teachings. That's the first words ever written.
Acceptance.
Everything's right.
And right, and that's a place to move to really see. And so, how
and then
did
immediately,
you?
like, people start saying, well, what about this? Or these, they go to those
Because we're
questions. and,
used
like,
to
the really bad stuff that you see in the world. Well, how can this all happen then?
How could that be right?
But you
How could
you
that be
have
right?
to then get to a point where you understand that everyone can have their own exploration.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a playground, and in non-physical, it's just you get stuff immediately. It's all great. So
Right.
you have to come here.
Yeah.
To have that type of experience.
feel
It looks
real.
bad from the outside, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
a journey that somebody's on to explore something about themselves and take it somewhere that you couldn't normally take it.
Yeah.
You have to have this kind of playground to do it.
Yeah. And so that's what's key in Joshua. What we're talking about right now is pretty high level stuff. But we're talking about it from our belief system that's been transformed because we have a lot more information. We've been doing this work. I've been doing it for 6 years. You guys have been doing it for almost a year.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
Joshua work, and then for the spiritual journey for 25
for
years.
25 years. Yeah. And so the things that click now, you had to go on that path to get to where you are.
Absolutely had to.
And so everyone can start, and I would say the best place to start is meditation. It's so underrated and so powerful.
Right.
And if you can listen to a guided meditation, there's Joshua ones, there's Abraham ones, and just that 15 minutes every single day. It's hard at first.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
It gets easier and easier,
Yeah.
and then you look forward to it and it
Yeah.
becomes pleasurable.
Right.
Not to control anything, but just to get in tune with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And not to think that you're manufacturing those thoughts, to think that you're attracting thoughts, and that what thoughts you're attracting is directly related to how you're feeling.
Right.
And if you're feeling good like we are now, we have nothing written down, we're just having this conversation, and it's going perfectly to all those people who are watching this.
Yeah.
It'll
They're
resonate
gonna hear
with
what they're
them.
going to hear. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Had we done this 10 years ago, we'd all have notes and we'd have a script.
Right.
Or like being on The Late Show.
Right.
You know, they make these stupid jokes up ahead of time. You know, it's all scripted.
Right.
It's no inspiration coming in.
Right. Nothing in the moment.
Yeah.
So what we have to understand is that you, two, and me, and everyone who's listening to this now, who will ever listen to this, is forming this flow of thought. And we're just translating that thought to reach people at a deeper level who are ready to go from this side of the fence of fear to this side of love.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and Joshua says love and acceptance are the same thing.
Yeah.
So acceptance is synonymous with love.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I say I love you, which I do,
Right.
it's not like huggy love. It's like I absolutely accept you as you are.
Right.
How you don't need to change a thing for me. I absolutely accept you.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you tell me more about fear being, emotion, a negative emotion? Like there's only fear, there's only happiness, but we're going to close out pretty soon.
We are,
just
yeah.
got like another minute or so.
Yeah.
But I think we were also talking about maybe bringing Joshua in
Sure,
on the
we'll do
second
that
segment.
anytime.
if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
want
we're
to.
doing 2 parts today. So this is part 1 and part 2. So, one thing that we did, and I want to make sure we mention this, is the boot camp that
Yeah.
that Joshua. So really quick here, tell us a little bit about the boot camp, and then maybe if someone is interested in hearing more about that, how do they do that? How would they find that?
So the boot camp is an 8-week program we do with a group of people. Right now, we're in a group of 67 people all over the world. And you take it week by week by week with everyone else. And you start at a very wide place, very general, and it gets more specific as we go along. And each week you raise your vibration so you're ready for the next week.
Okay.
And this is the only thing that's built in absolute acceptance. There's no control
Right.
on this,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's not to get anything done. It's to get your vibration and your belief system
Right. We're
in
not
line.
fixing anything. Yeah.
Nothing to fix.
Yep.
We're all
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
It's some radical new ideas that, if you're interested in this, you will love it.
Yeah.
And so just send an email to joshuateachings@gmail.com
Okay.
or
Perfect.
Google Gary Temple Bodley.
Excellent.
Great.
Let's head into the second segment.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks. This was great, Gary. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.